Yeah, so I have 3 places that I'll read when I'm at home, and that's my couch, my bed, and if the weather is nice, I'll read out in my hammock on my back porch. Definitely bookmark, but if I'm in a pinch, I have been known to use a piece of paper or a bill. Now, this answer has actually changed for me in the last year. I used to be somebody who could not stop in the middle of a chapter. It would drive me crazy, and then I'd like completely forget where I was and what was happening. But now I can definitely stop in the middle and still keep track of where I'm at. I don't know, I just started having to do this because I started reading on my lunch breaks at my job, and you know, if 30 minutes elapses, I have to stop. So I kind of just practiced stopping wherever. I do eat and drink while reading. I can only focus on my book if the TV's on in the background, but I'm not actually watching it. Like if my husband or somebody is watching TV or playing video games, that's fine. But I can't pay attention to my book and TV or music. Music especially. It has to have like no lyrics in it. This is another one that's changed for me. Now I can read more than one book at once. I used to be somebody who like only wanted to read one book at a time, and then I started reading them between work and home, and also like listening to an audiobook at the same time. So now usually I'll read like 2 actual books, physical books at the same time, and then also have an audiobook that I'm working my way through. I get that for some people that can be really confusing, but as long as I'm not reading like 3 adult fantasy series at the same time, I'm not gonna get too confused. So I typically only read at home and at work. Definitely reading silently in my head. Not a big reading out loud person. I'm not that articulate when I speak. I'm better at like writing and voicing myself that way. And secondly, it kind of annoys me when people read out loud, like I'm not gonna lie. My husband will read instructions out loud and it drives me crazy. Anyway. I don't read ahead, but I have been known to skip not pages, but like sections. So especially in like adult fantasy where it's getting like really descriptive and it feels like, okay, I got it. I understand. I'm gonna skip this section. I do that sometimes just because it bores the crap out of me to read a bunch of stuff that I don't need to read. Now, I generally don't break the spines on my books, but that's not a matter of preference. Like, I just don't do it because I resell my books, and I feel like I'm more likely to get money for it. I don't know. It's not really the truth, but it is what I do. I don't really care if the spine is broken. Like, I buy used books and stuff. If the spine's broken, don't care. The only books I've written in have been textbooks for school. I don't take notes in my own books. If I'm going to take notes, it's going to be on, like, a word processing document or something. No. Again, trying to resell my books later, not a great idea to mark them up a bunch. I would say I mostly read in the afternoon and the evening. I mean, really, I try to squeeze it in whenever I don't have something going on or, like, am not preferring to play video games or something. But generally, I don't read in the morning, and it's because it makes me so damn tired. to read. And I've always been this way. Like, when I was a kid, if I would try to read a book, I would, like, fall asleep, and for a long time I didn't read because of it. I think it's something about my eyes going back and forth, kind of, like, scanning the page makes me feel tired. But, yeah, because of that, I don't read in the morning, because it's just gonna make me want to go back to bed. I'd say my best setting to read in is when I'm on vacation, and I can just sit there and not feel guilty for 10 plus hours and binge read a book. Especially when I go to my family's cabin, because it's off-grid, so there's, like, no TV or anything to distract me. I literally, like, I can't even get on my cell phone. So, perfect setting to be like, I'm gonna read this whole book in one sitting and not feel bad about it. Now, I do generally try to read the book before I watch something that I'm interested in, but there have been cases, like with The Witcher, where I have played the games and didn't really like them. To be honest, I was really bad at them. That's why I didn't like them. Had nothing to do with the real game and just me being bad at them. Anyway, yeah. But with the show, like, I really loved the show, so I decided to read the books afterward. So, generally, I like to read the book first, because I feel like it's fun to, like, see that made into a TV show, or movie, or whatever, but it's weirdly not the way it happens with me a lot of the time. I think my preference for this changes depending on what setting I'm reading in. So if I can, like, take a physical book with me and it's not inconvenient, then I prefer to do that. But I find that I read a lot of ebooks at my job because I can pull them up on the computer when we're not busy. Don't tell my boss. But I've always been not that big of a fan of audiobooks. I have a really hard time, like, focusing enough to, like, create a mental image of what this author is reading to me. It has something to do with, like, you know, the reading aloud thing too. I think it's not my ideal way to consume a novel. So physical books first, ebooks second, audiobooks last. Only if I have to. I don't think so. Like what? If I'm only going to read them and then sell them back to a used bookstore, then no. They don't have to match. I really don't care, like, how I consume them if I'm not going to keep them in my permanent collection. But if they're in my permanent collection, they must match.